Why this question sounds so odd? We have Smith to Bentham ka journey, and Bentham is supporting some things which the Smith did not support.
The Industrial Revolution birthed two entirely new classes, economic classes, that is the middle class and the working class. The world of the world is not finite, rather it is infinite.
Do they speak the same thing, or there is some difference between them?
Adam Smith is regarded as the father of capitalism.
In case of Smith, we saw the limitation of Smith's viewpoint.
We come across Malthus.
He is representing the anxiety of middle class which feels threatened that there might be social instability and unrest. तो ये सब कैसे रोका जाए?
Yes.
Hello and welcome to Behind the Question. This is our 5th episode and I welcome Vishal sir.
Thank you, sir.
So इस time थोड़ा format उल्टा कर दे. Let me ask you questions and you try to give your perspective.
Right, sir.
And then
I'll do my best.
We'll go for world history.
हाँ sir, बिल्कुल.
We have a question from 2023 only.
जी sir.
I read the question first. The impact of Industrial Revolution on the middle class worldview is reflected in the views of Adam Smith, Thomas Malthus, and Jeremy Bentham. Comment. Now, when I read this question for the first time, I'll be very honest, I was a little bit surprised.
And shaken. Even I was, sir.
So why is that feeling? Why this question sounds so odd?
It may not be a very difficult question for a student from PSIR background, but it is definitely hard for a student with history optional. I'll tell you why. If you actually look at the questions from the British democratic politics, that is where this question actually belongs to. Our main focus is always on those topics mentioned in the syllabus, which are the Great Reform Act of 1832 and Chartism, the Chartist movement, right? But there is another hidden topic within it, which in fact has been the most popular theme of questions for all the questions from that topic, from British democratic politics. That is the ideologies of liberalism and utilitarianism. वहाँ से in comparison to these other two topics हमेशा ज़्यादा questions आए हैं. If we in fact conduct a survey of the questions that UPSC has asked from this topic, British democratic politics, from 1979 to 2023, we'll find that liberalism, utilitarianism से तो in fact 7 questions आए हैं. From Reform Act of 1832, only 3 questions have been asked. From Chartism, only 5 questions have been asked. बट ये वाला एंगल हम कम्प्लीटली मिस कर देते हैं.
एंड व्हाई डू वी मिस इट जनरली? मतलब अगर इतनी बार ये सवाल पूछ रही है,
उसका सर एक और रीज़न है, एंड दैट इज़ क्योंकि यहाँ पे मिडिल क्लास मेंशन्ड है, विच इज़ एक्चुअली क्लासिकल लिबरलिज्म एंड यूटिलिटेरियन फिलोसफी, दैट इज़ ऑलवेज सीन इन कॉन्ट्रास्ट टू द वर्किंग क्लास एंड द वर्किंग क्लास मूवमेंट्स. वहाँ पे सोशलिज्म, कम्युनिज्म, इसके ऊपर ज़्यादा फोकस चला जाता है. यू हैव अ लार्ज नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस with regards to the Marxist thinkers, the communist thinkers, the different movements that took place, the impact of socialism and communism, how it was a counter reaction to capitalism and the Industrial Revolution and its evils, how it was a counter reaction to the imperialism, and उसकी ideology के ऊपर भी बहुत focus होता है. With regards to this, क्योंकि questions आते नहीं हैं regarding the ideology, impact, socio-economic impacts तो question आते हैं middle class movement के, Industrial Revolution के, बट उसकी आइडियोलॉजी के ऊपर क्वेश्चन आते नहीं है. सो नीदर आर द स्टूडेंट्स कंसर्न्ड नॉर डू द टीचर्स टीच अबाउट देम. जो खुद ही कुछ नहीं पढ़ा होगा तो कैसे क्लास में बताओगे आप, राइट? सो दैट इज व्हाई इस आंसर को देख करके कई सारे लोग हिल गए थे. एंड थिंग इज कि दीज नेम्स आर नॉट अननोन टू अस. इन द ज़ाइटगाइस्ट दे आर ऑलवेज देयर. तो यूटिलिटेरियनिज्म में, फॉर एग्जांपल, एथिक्स में भी आप सुनते हो, राइट? देन थॉमस माल्थूस, एडम स्मिथ, इकोनॉमिक थ्योरी में भी आता है. Geography students भी पढ़ते हैं काफ़ी डिटेल में. So every UPSC aspirant is aware of these names, and especially history optionals, especially if they have friends with those other optionals.
वो एक हिंदी में जो कितने दूर कितने पास.
हाँ.
Thinkers appear so known to us, but still it is difficult to write the answer.
Yes, it is difficult. So we need to know the intellectual contributions of these thinkers, the field of their study, in order to be able to answer this question, because क्वेश्चन में केवल उन थिंकर्स के थॉट्स को आपको एन्यूमरेट नहीं करना, आउटलाइन नहीं करना है. ऑल्सो हैव टू लिंक इट विद द मिडिल क्लास वर्ल्ड व्यू.
एग्जैक्टली. तो यहीं पे मतलब देयर इज अ ग्रोइंग ट्रेंड, इफ यू सी इन लास्ट 20-30 years, ऑफ अ न्यू टाइप ऑफ हिस्ट्री कॉल्ड इंटेलेक्चुअल हिस्ट्री राइटिंग. सो दिस क्वेश्चन परफेक्टली फिट्स इन दैट नरेटिव, इंटेलेक्चुअल हिस्ट्री. तो जब हम क्लास में पढ़ाते भी है दैट देयर इज अ न्यू हिस्टोरियोग्राफिकल टर्न ऑफ सबाल्टर्न आइडिया, फेमिनिस्ट आइडिया, दलित हिस्टोरियोग्राफी, उसके साथ साथ कनेक्टेड हिस्ट्री, ग्लोबल हिस्ट्री, और उसके साथ ये भी आता है देयर इज वन
Intellectual
मोर स्टैंड, इंटेलेक्चुअल हिस्ट्री। एंड यूपीएससी हैज फाइनली स्टार्टेड टू अप्रिशिएट कि भाई हिस्ट्री चेंज हो रही है, सवाल उस तरह पूछने चाहिए।
बिल्कुल, and I think this is a trend which is only going to grow in the future. It is going to become more and more important to learn about many important scholars who have contributed to thought from the 18th century onwards at least.
And that learning should be little different from how a PSIR student studies it.
Huh.
PSIR student will focus primarily on thoughts.
On thoughts.
We have to study the connection between thoughts
yes.
and the context. और सवाल exactly
Thought, हाँ, thoughts and developments, thoughts and events.
Yes.
उसके ऊपर हमारा focus ज़्यादा रहेगा.
So after that, would you please throw some light on the larger context in which this question is situated?
Now, in order to do that, now we need to appreciate that Industrial Revolution was a major development in human history. You can perceive it as a great dividing line of human history. उसके पहले की दुनिया और उसके बाद की दुनिया बिल्कुल अलग थी. And it is going to obviously have a great degree of impact on thought. And why is that? Because the Industrial Revolution birthed two entirely new classes, economic classes, that is the middle class and the working class. इसके पहले equation थोड़ा binary था. There was the aristocracy and there were the commoners, right? And power was always controlled by the aristocracy. The economic resources were in their hand, social regulation they were doing, and they were also in charge of the state. They were also in control of the state. The dominant economic philosophy and market mechanism was regulated through a philosophy known as mercantilism. Basic crux उसका ये था that the wealth of the world is finite and जो economic relations होते हैं अलग अलग countries या अलग अलग entities में, there is zero sum game. या तो मेरी जीत होगी या आपकी जीत होगी. And thus the thrust was on creating monopolies, super monopolies which could control the entire share of the global trade or as large a share of the global trade as possible, which would result in the emergence of monstrosities such as the English East India Company, which at one point of time controlled more than 50% of the globe's resources. Its empire was one which had its presence in all continents in the world, except for Antarctica, of course. Right? And then will emerge the Industrial Revolution, which is going to completely disrupt mercantilism and mercantile processes. It will chop at the very trunk of mercantilism and monopolies also.
Right. And that view is reflected in the middle class's perspective.
That is in fact the crux of the middle class's perspective.
So there is the keyword that we can see in the question, which says that middle class worldview. So if you want to exactly understand what is this middle class worldview, before coming to thinkers, how do you understand this one?
Well, उसके social, economic and political dimensions अलग-अलग हो सकते हैं. Politically, let us talk about first. They would argue for democratization of politics since the middle class till now had been excluded from holding any political power. They wanted political participation. They wanted to widen the electorate. They wanted to widen the social base of the state, so to speak of, so that they could have a voice within the state. They could dilute the monopoly of the aristocracy and the English East India Company within parliament. So that is why the movement for expansion of the electorate in the Great Reform Act 1832. Politically इस तरह के reforms चाहते थे. Then another major thrust of their was to protect individual freedoms, individual rights against arbitrary action by the state. And उसके पीछे जो उनका main focus था, that was on preserving property rights, because that is their core economic interest. Then economic worldview देख लेते हैं. So they wanted no regulation, they wanted freedom from state regulation, they wanted open competition, the dismantling of monopolies, they wanted the invisible hand of the market to be able to operate freely, they wanted the decisions with regards to allocation of economic resources to be taken by individual entrepreneurs and market players instead of being dictated by the state. इस तरह की चीजें चाहते थे. Then in the social sphere, they would want things such as social freedoms, the end of feudal privileges, the creation of, or we can say, the creation of a level playing field in the social sphere.
Even the abolition of slavery system.
The abolition of slavery, for example, would be the demand for freedom of religion, for example. Right? So these would be the kinds of worldviews that the middle class would have.
And then if we look at this entire thing collectively, generally is termed as liberalism.
Yep.
But liberalism as a concept, if I remember correctly, has not remained same over time.
It has changed over
It has changed over time.
It has changed.
Does
In
this,
fact, ये जो question है, the three thinkers
Yes.
that are mentioned over here, Smith, Thomas Malthus and Jeremy Bentham, they are in fact mentioned in the correct chronological order also. These reflect the three different generations of British liberals or later utilitarians during the 1770s, 1800s and finally 1820s, 1830s in the case of Jeremy Bentham. Adam Smith 1770s ka, Thomas Malthus turn of the century, beginning of the 19th century, and Jeremy Bentham early 19th century, that is 1820s, 1830s.
do they speak the same thing, or there is some difference between them?
Actually, Adam Smith is regarded as the father of capitalism because he was the first one who openly attacked
The privileges of
mercantilism. He was the one who argued for laissez-faire, right? He was a very optimistic thinker, economically speaking, if we are talking about like that, right? So it was he who came up with the argument that the world is not finite, rather it is infinite. It is actually individual enterprise and technological development which leads to resource creation. So resources could be created, right? New resources could be unlocked which were previously hidden. That was his idea. He was unable to see the pitfalls of industrialization. So he wanted to realize the opportunities of industrialization, but did not see the mistakes or the dangers of industrialization.
जैसे कि
ओवर प्रोडक्शन हो सकता है, मार्केट साइकिल्स को एंटिसिपेट नहीं किया, बूम बस्ट हो सकता है,
so market failure.
मार्केट फेलियर हो सकता है, राइट? तो ये
There
सब
is also the possibility of the resource crunch because environment
cronyism
doesn't
हो
offer.
सकता है, कई सारी चीजें हो सकती
Yes.
हैं, and then the idea that resources are infinite, that does not make any sense at all.
Correct.
Right?
आज
Materials
के
is-
दिन में अगर आता तो
हाँ,
उसकी बत्तर
होता नहीं है. In fact, it is against the basic laws of nature, right? Then we come across Malthus. Malthus was the answer to Smithsonian optimism. Yeah.
rather.
Malthus presents a very pessimistic picture. He was in fact a country curate, मतलब कि गांव देहात में एक विकर टाइप का काम करता था, चर्च का ऑफिशियल था.
पापा जी थे वो.
बाबा जी नहीं बोल सकते. एंग्लिकन चर्च इन इटसेल्फ वाज अ ब्यूरोक्रेटिक इंस्टीट्यूशन,
Right.
अलग अलग जहाँ पे उसका प्रेजेंस था. सो ही हैड अ डायरेक्ट you can say contact with the people living in the villages of Britain, and writing about it 40 years after the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, he saw the kind of devastation that the Industrial Revolution brought to the countryside. Depopulation of the villages, extreme poverty, the creation of large estates by industrialists who not only owned big townhouses in the big cities, but also were buying up all the cheap land which was being abandoned in the villages. So the crumbling of the social support structures which existed in the villages, the poverty of the British church in the countryside, right? So he came across all these things, and he has in fact presented the exact opposite picture that was given by Adam Smith. ये बोलता है that resources are finite and we are actually at the risk of a resource collapse which is going to result in a major catastrophe. तो population का अचानक से एक डिक्लाइन देखने के लिए
वो
मिल
ये
सकता
कहता है कि resources increase in arithmetic proportion,
है. हाँ, while
population increases in
in
geometric
geometric
proportion. तो mismatch होगा.
mismatch होगा. That
Okay.
is what he says. Now, how he is reflecting the middle class concerns is that अगर resources का crunch होता है तो that is a very good recipe for social disharmony. And the disharmony में the lower classes, the working classes, they are going to attack, loot and kill the middle classes. They are going to lose their right to property, which was the most precious thing for them. So he in fact is arguing for the middle class, but appears to be an advocate of the working class.
So he is representing the anxiety of middle class which feels threatened that there might be social instability and unrest. तो ये सब कैसे रोका जाए?
Yes, तो उनको reconcile करने की जरूरत को ये, उसकी need को ये highlight करता है. And that in fact is done by Jeremy Bentham.
So Bentham is providing a solution to the problems created by Malthus.
Problems that are highlighted by, articulated by
yes.
Malthus. So Bentham, for example, argues for the creation of a strong state which could regulate the industry, which could protect the right of property, which could prepare a level playing field and provide equal opportunities for all members of society, be they from the aristocratic class, the middle class, or the working class. That is what Bentham does. The idea that he argued that those actions are just which result in the greatest good for the greatest number. तो जो good है ना, that he has defined from a middle class perspective.
सबका भला करेंगे, but भला का मतलब हम define
भला का मतलब तो हाँ, और middle class perspective से ही define किया गया.
Right.
And it is these things, the idea of social justice, the idea of level playing field, the idea of equal opportunity, the idea of protecting the right to property, the idea of individual freedom, the idea of religious freedoms, etc. तो ये सब बेंथम की डिमांड्स थी.
And who is supposed to ensure all these things? The state.
The state.
So he is asking for enhanced role of state, and within the state, enhanced role of the middle class to control the state.
Yeah, because before the Industrial Revolution, state was completely under the control of the English East India Company, which itself was owned by the British aristocrats. So it was an aristocratically controlled parliament. He wanted the middle class to have ownership of the parliament and the British democratic system. So that is what he is.
In case of Smith, we saw the limitation of Smith's viewpoint that he did not anticipate the resource crunch or market failure. In case of Malthus and in case of Bentham, are there any limitations here?
Sir, obviously. For example, in the case of Malthus, he was not able to anticipate that technology can be a problem to many of the technology can be a solution to many of the resource-related problems that he is highlighting. So, with technological improvements, the production can outstrip the demand. For example, the supply can exceed the demand. So that exactly is what happened over the next 2 centuries.
Examples, Green Revolution is the best example.
Green Revolution in the case of India is the best example. India में भी population का बहुत major burden था, but Green Revolution through technological improvements solved that problem in a single decade, right? So that is one.
In case of Bentham,
Bentham के case में what he was actually arguing for is the creation of a super state, a state which is responsible for not only regulating the market but also society. It has extraordinary power. So this is exactly the kind of state that Smith wanted to dismantle. Right.
So in the same framework of liberalism, we have Smith to Bentham ka journey, and Bentham is supporting some things which the Smith did not support.
Yes.
And still we follow the same ideological arc.
That is how ideologies evolve, in fact. But Bentham is not simply remembered as a liberal thinker. He is also remembered as a utilitarian. और जो ग्रेटेस्ट गुड करना है, उसके लिए कोई ना कोई एजेंट होना चाहिए ना, कोई करने के लिए होना चाहिए, कोई ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश होने चाहिए उसके भी. दैट वाज सपोज्ड टू बी द स्टेट, बट द स्टेट उसके लिए एक प्रॉपर गार्ड रेल्स होने चाहिए, और क्या इंश्योर करेगा कि वो डेमोक्रेटिक स्टेट होना चाहिए. So that is what he was arguing for.
So we have got a good idea of what this issue is all about. What if you want to conclude the answer? Then what would be the appropriate viewpoint? Should we focus more on the limitations of these thinkers in the conclusion?
No, sir. I don't think that would be appropriate over here. In fact, हम ऐसा बोल सकते हैं कि इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन की वजह से कई सारे चेंजेस आए, जैसे हमने देखा था कि इट इज़ अ ग्रेट डिवाइडिंग लाइन. इंटेलेक्चुअल आइडियोलॉजिकल चेंजेस भी आएंगे, साथ में इकोनॉमिक चेंजेस भी आएंगे, पॉलिटिकल चेंजेस भी आएंगे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, it would not result only in the emergence of liberalism and utilitarianism. It would also result in the crystallization of the ideas of nationalism, of imperialism, of socialism. It would create a counter reaction, socialism, etc. हम वो highlight कर सकते हैं कि it was not limited only to middle class worldview, but other worldviews were also emerging as a result.
It makes a perfect sense.
ठीक है sir.
ठीक है. So thank you students for watching this episode of Behind the Question. And if you want us to discuss any other specific PYQ which you find may have some context, some story behind it, please comment in the comment section, and we shall definitely try to address that.